Well, hi, it's Simon Breakspear, and I'm thrilled to be joining you today for your all in system days. You're coming together, 38 schools representing 16,000 or so students. And we as educators are coming together to focus on the core work of improving our craft of teaching. Now, I know it's no surprise, but I'm a huge fan of the Teach First initiative and your Insights for Learning work that you've been doing over the last few years, building a foundational understanding of what we know about how humans learn and increasingly asking how we can align our teaching with how humans learn best. And today, as we come together, teams gathered together across the state to think about this work, I want to say there's three reasons why I think this is the right work at the right time in the right way. And firstly, I love that we're coming together today to talk about teaching. I know as a researcher that the number one thing that we can work on to improve the learning, the well-being, and the life chances of the young people we serve in the system that you're in is to continually improve the quality of our teaching. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's problems to be fixed, but all of us face challenges. We face learning challenges in our classroom. And today we come together not for administration, not for updates on compliance, but to think about the core work of teaching. Well, number two, the reason why I think what we're doing today is such important work is it's based on evidence. Gone are the days where we'd ask busy educators like you to spend their small amount of collaboration time on whatever the newest fad is, only to find a few years later the fad has changed and we've got to revert to a different type of teaching again. No, what you're doing through the Teach First initiative is you're building your practice changes on the research evidence that has stood the test of time. For some of you, as you get into some of the sprint work, as you start to get into these rounds of work, some of the best pushback might be, oh, well, isn't this just good teaching? Yeah, it is. Because we're working on the practices and the strategies that have stood the test of time, that have been in and around the research and confirmed multiple times. And so they give us a really firm foundation for investing our limited time in for our work. And when we based our teaching improvements on the best available evidence, on those best bets for what's going to work across the diversity of classrooms that are represented here, we know that our time isn't wasted, but rather that there's a high likelihood that as we better understand evidence-informed practice, and more importantly, we find a way to add it to our ongoing repertoire of teaching, there is a high likelihood that not only will we improve the quality of learning, but we will also enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of our teaching. That is, we'll get more effective teaching done in less time, therefore saving us time and actually reducing our workload over time. Well, the third reason, I really love and respect the way that Catholic Education Tasmania, you're coming together to do this work, is it's all about collective progress. We've got big challenges that we want to make progress on. We've got big aspirations around how much further you can push student learning. And that's a collective endeavour. This isn't about individual teachers tinkering away on little things they might be interested in. This is about a system saying, let's get an uplift together. Let's go after those best bets that are most likely to shift teaching in a positive way, and let's all go and do that work together. Let's have a vision that in 3 or 4 months, as you complete your first system sprint, and you're coming back to review, and then you get into the rhythm and routine of this work, that indeed 16,000 kids have benefited from this first sprint that we've run. That many students who are finding it difficult to get into certain content, because of what you've learned and even better applied, those students are making more progress, feel a greater sense of efficacy in their learning. That when we're gathering together to talk about our practice improvement and unpacking things, we're getting the joy of talking about the same practices and strategies, learning from one another and solving these regular challenges that we face by using consistent evidence together. So for me, there's a real excitement about a system, 38 schools gathering together and all of their staff in and around the core work of enhancing teaching by using evidence and doing it together. And today, I'm going to share some key ideas that might help frame up the conversations you're going to have and help us increase the likelihood that this big investment of your time and energy is going to result in meaningful change to practice, to collaboration, and of course, long-term student learning. So let's get into it.